What's your eye raised a badass moment? The smell hit me first when I picked Sage up from school that Tuesday afternoon. My 14-year-old was sitting in the passenger seat with wet jeans and the kind of silence that meant something terrible had happened. When I asked what was wrong, Sage whispered, "I peed myself during my wolf presentation and everyone laughed." 3 weeks later, Sage was still vomiting before school every morning and having panic attacks whenever teachers called for presentations. We tried therapy, breathing exercises, even anxiety medication, but nothing worked because the humiliation had carved itself so deep that just thinking about speaking publicly triggered immediate nausea. When Sage started staying after school for art classes at the community center, I was honestly relieved that something creative might help rebuild the confidence that had been completely destroyed. I should have known something was up when Sage came home every day with sawdust in their hair instead of paint on their fingers. When I asked about the art classes, Sage would just mumble something about working with different materials and disappear into the bedroom. The evasive answers made me suspicious, but Sage seemed happier than they'd been in weeks, so I decided not to push for details. This routine continued for months until one night at dinner, Sage announced they were entering the city talent show. I nearly choked on my coffee and said, "Honey, are you sure that's a good idea? You know how you get with public speaking?" Sage looked me straight in the eye with more confidence than I'd seen since the wolf incident and said, "Trust me, Mom, I've been preparing for this." The community center was packed with over 200 people the night of the talent show, including half of Sage's 8th grade class. I was sitting in the 3rd row feeling sick to my stomach when Sage walked onto the stage dragging a massive 6-foot pine log behind them. My first thought was that this had to be some kind of mistake because Sage was supposed to be doing art, not whatever this was supposed to be. Then Sage pulled the cord on a chainsaw and the entire auditorium filled with the most deafening roar I'd ever heard in my life. I jumped out of my seat and nearly screamed, "What the hell is happening?" But the sound was too loud for anyone to hear me panic. My kid was standing on stage with a power tool, and I had absolutely no idea how this was even possible. For 20 minutes, I watched Sage carve with precision and skill that seemed impossible for someone so young. Wood chips were flying everywhere as a magnificent wolf slowly emerged from that massive log, and Sage's concentration was so intense that nothing else in the world seemed to exist. I realized I was holding my breath and gripping the armrest so hard my knuckles were white. When Sage shut off the chainsaw and stepped back to reveal the completed sculpture, the wolf stood nearly 6 feet tall with intricate details carved into its fur and fierce eyes that seemed to stare directly into the audience. The silence felt like it lasted forever, until Sage grabbed the microphone and delivered the line that still gives me chills every time I remember it. Last year, I pissed myself talking about wolves because I was terrified of all of you judging me, but today I carved one because I'm not afraid of anything anymore. The auditorium erupted in the loudest applause I'd ever heard, and I was crying so hard I could barely see Sage taking a bow. That night, I learned that my kid had been secretly training with Frank, the retired woodshop teacher who lived on the edge of town. I found Frank in the parking lot after the show, and he told me the whole story while we watched Sage accept congratulations from classmates who'd been avoiding them for months. Sage showed up on my porch crying after another bad day at school, Frank said, flexing his remaining fingers nervously. "I've been hiding out there since I lost these digits in a teaching accident, feeling sorry for myself and avoiding people. When I saw that kid sitting there looking as broken as I felt, I knew we could help each other." Frank explained that Sage had natural talent, but more importantly had the kind of focused determination that only comes from someone with everything to prove. By month 3, Sage was handling that chainsaw like they'd been born with it in their hand. I knew that kid was going to shock the hell out of everyone who'd ever laughed at them. Sage never had another panic attack about public speaking after that night, and watching my kid walk taller through the school hallways was worth every bit of sawdust I'd swept off the bedroom floor.